have been speaking on the floor of the National Assembly, agitating for the interests of the Nigerian people, especially those who are directly affected in South Africa, is Senator Victor Umeh, who is live for us here in our studio. Thanks so much, distinguished, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Nigerians.
Thank you so much indeed. About 3 batches of Nigerians have now landed in Nigeria, and it's heart-wrenching. The kind of hostility, and those, in fact, what I've heard, Senator, now, is that a group of Nigerians, young Nigerians, are now giving South Africans deadline to leave this country. The kind of response that you will get when there is a negative action and the kind of reaction that is coming. And I'm not sure how this will pan out eventually.
Well, this situation will call for sometimes extreme reaction, because this matter had come up in the Senate about 6 weeks ago. And I remember that in my contribution to the xenophobic attacks against Nigerians in South Africa, I was very vehement and visibly angry with the way South Africa has treated Nigeria and Nigerians living in their place. I had to recall that for Nigeria, South Africa would have been an apartheid country where the blacks would not have any right to leadership, no right to even access to things provided by government. They were in that dark situation when Nigeria took it up and fought for the emancipation of black Africans, took it to the global stage and fought the battle with the resources of the country to end apartheid regime in South Africa. I said that this was a very bad way of rewarding brotherhood. Nigeria took the injustices the South African blacks were subjected to by the apartheid regime to the highest level. Even our musicians sang it on a daily basis, mounted global campaign to end apartheid in South Africa. Nigeria had to boycott even the Olympics because of the apartheid regime in South Africa. So looking at the enormous contributions Nigeria made to see black rule, South African black rule, that started with Nelson Mandela, who was brought out from prison after 26 years. I had thought that South Africa will always take Nigeria as big brothers, people who ran to their rescue when they were being emasculated. But the reverse has been the case. They challenge Nigeria in everything, even in sports. They are so angry to meet Nigerians, even in football. You can see their hate for a country that laid the foundation to their freedom. I was very angry in that discussion in the Senate, and my colleagues were asking me to tone down. I said no, because I never imagined that this thing will ever be so. And it is because of the way we have taken it that they launched this round of attacks again, gave Nigerians deadline to leave by 30th of June. And they have given effect to that their threat. Many Nigerians were killed. In fact, one person was killed a day to departure, and businesses were destroyed. All our contributions at the debate in the Senate about 6 weeks ago fell on deaf ears because they saw all these things. They were threats even. Myself, I called for reprisal actions, because I couldn't see how they would be treating Nigeria this way.
Although it's not only Nigerians, there are Africans, Uganda.
Ghana has just shown the Ramaphosa who wants to come on a state visit to Ghana. He told him not to touch his feet on Ghanaian soil.
You think that we need to make the president of this country need a strong response? Because there are those who will say, we haven't really heard President Bola Tinubu speak about it. We've had ministers, aides to the president speak about, but our own president seemed not to have said anything majorly other than statement from the presidency. If you were to ask or demand a response, what would exactly do you think the president should be saying or doing?
our president should immediately put South Africa on the spot, diplomatically. We cannot be dealing with a country who shows this level of hate to our country, killing our citizens like rats. I was in South Africa in 2024. Then I was the chairman of the Senate Committee on Diaspora and Non-Governmental Organizations. And when I got there, I held an interactive session with Nigerians living in South Africa, particularly in Joburg. And their stories were heart-wrenching. You know, you cannot imagine that Nigerians were living in South Africa like slaves. You have no liberty given to you. A case of one young man from Yoruba land, southwest Nigeria, who was running a restaurant in South Africa. They went to his restaurant, arrested him, took him away, and put him in detention and never allowed him access to a lawyer to defend him. He will come to court, no lawyer for him, and eventually they threw him in prison. So this is not the type of thing you can be wanting to see. In a South Africa, the white man developed to the level it has become. You know, their barbarism is of the highest degree. And why are they angry with Nigerians? That's what you should that should worry anybody.
But again, Senator,
if there's any country South Africa will be up in arms against, it's not Nigeria. Or disrespect. Here, the DSTV is here reckoning money. MTN is here reckoning money. Standard IBTC, Chartered Bank is here reckoning money. And Nigerians are treating them with all good manners. You know, they increase their subscriptions, we pay. They are making money and taking money out of this country. What are we taking out from South Africa? What are we taking out from South Africa?
There are those who would think maybe Nigeria's diplomatic response to these attacks is more reactive than proactive or active in that sense. Has Nigeria's foreign policy failed Nigerians, considering the kind of aggression Nigerians are facing? Because, and I will take an example of the American USA as a nation. They defend their own people, and any interest of America wherever in the world, they will fight for it.
You're talking about America. Take Israel, that is a smaller country than America. If you kill an Israeli anywhere, you must pay for it. They will come after you with all their might. This is the way to earn respect for the country. Look at Israel in the Middle East. You see how they've been slugging it out with their neighbors. And they are certain that nobody can treat an Israeli with that type of disrespect within their own region.
Is there anything that you think is restraining the government of Nigeria?
No, we have not.
From asserting itself?
No, we have not done well. We have not done well in dealing with this issue. And that was what provoked me, and I started speaking the manner I spoke 6 weeks ago. Our government has been docile over the attitude of South Africa to Nigerians. What they have come out with as a response does not solve the problem. I mean, Nigerians were harassed, killed in droves, and we just sent aircraft to go and bring them back home. What have they done to express anger or outrage with what South Africa has been handing down to Nigerians here? It's enough to break diplomatic relationship with South Africa. Let them go and pack their things away from this country. Go. We have other countries to relate with. They cannot be killing us this way. And they were emboldened to do this second round when the one they did about 6 weeks ago, Nigerian government did not do anything. I asked Nigeria to invoke its powers in the African Union to even push for the suspension of South Africa as a member of African Union, because the charter establishing African Union guarantees Africans freedom of movement within the African continent.
Senator, don't you think even the South African government, Ramaphosa as the leader of that country, seems to have been muted as a response of a leader to this kind of chaos on his hand? There are those who say, politically speaking, Ramaphosa, the president of that country, is not able to even respond and take action politically because of the kind of mob action that the people have shown in this regard. And then those who say, look, even the leadership of that country is helpless. In that sense.
Cyril Ramaphosa has failed in his responsibility as president of South Africa. Xenophobic attacks in South Africa has brought South Africa to national and international opprobrium. They have lost respect everywhere. Look at the World Cup where they played, how people were, jeering at them. You cannot behave like that and be part of a global world community. You cannot do that, killing people just like that because they came to live in your country, to do business. You start killing them and ask everybody to go home. Why should they fly to America to go and play football? Is America their land? They cannot. If you want to be part of the global community, you must guarantee decency in your country and the respect to human rights.
Without conceding to some of the agitation of South Africans, we say, oh, they are taking our jobs. Oh, there is violence. They are killing our children. There are court groups. There are this and that. And there are lessons to be learned that when you are in other people's land, the kind of respect you pay. There are those who will say, even our people, we need to talk to ourselves. Do you think so?
No, one thing you should know is that in your own country, if anybody comes into your country, and we have doctors, we have all engineers, we have all classes of Nigerians living in South Africa. The story that people came in illegally and taking their jobs is fallacy. I met a lot of doctors, Nigerian doctors in South Africa, doing their work and paying their taxes. Responsible Nigerians. But when they want to go after them, they don't care who you are, whether you're an engineer or you're a medical doctor. People who are contributing positively to the life of South Africa. They don't, once you are not South African, you are an enemy. Go home. You cannot say that. Because it is not the way to build a nation. Yeah. They're making South Africa to be a pariah nation. Because by the time people avoid going to South Africa, they will see the hurt they have done to themselves.
You think Nigeria can sanction South Africa?
Yes, of course we can. We can send them away from here, even their businesses. Who cares? There's nothing they're doing in Nigeria that we cannot do for ourselves. If it is a satellite that they have, we have to spend money. I remember that in 2006, DAC Communications wanted to start digital satellite transmission, the type of thing they're doing in South Africa. And some of us were moved to patriotically invest in that public offer they did. So if Nigeria takes it as a priority, they will be able to create all those opportunities. Nigeria has also advanced in digital technology. We can bring these things about. Yeah. So it's not that if they go, Nigeria will collapse. We will never collapse. And this job they're talking about, what jobs did they have when there was apartheid in South Africa? What jobs did the South Africans have? What jobs were they doing? They were doing the menial jobs. Nigeria saw it as injustice to the black race and threw its weight to liberate them. Today, they want Nigerians to go home.
South Africans are ingrates and ungrateful.
They are worse than ingrates. They shouldn't do that. And Nigerian government should give them the measure they deserve. If you allow me, like the Senate is not talking about investigating it, I'm a member of the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs. So this matter has been referred to us again, and we're not going to treat it with kid gloves. We're going to look at it holistically and document the killings they have done, the human lives, Nigerian lives they have wasted because they don't want Nigerians to be in their country.
Let me take you away from diplomatic affairs
they have to pay for all these things they have done, like Shumulo said. They have to pay for this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me bring you to local politics. And things are getting heated. Just yesterday, I was getting response to what Mr. Peter Obi said about some of the alleged failures of this government in terms of the killings. And he made reference to what some of those who are in government now, perhaps talking about President Bola Tinubu, he said he had told Jonathan to step aside or resign, and he has told President Tinubu to resign. But when I asked my guest yesterday, who is Senator Alimodu Sheriff, who is a former governor of Borno State, he went on a diatribe against Mr. Peter Obi. And you will see how incensed he was. And he said Peter Obi is not qualified to be able to tell President Tinubu to resign or step aside because of what is going on in the country. What would you say to that kind of statement or that kind of anger that he showed against Peter Obi?
Well, I'll say that Peter Obi, his politics in Nigeria is common knowledge. What Peter is preaching is about change in the way we do things, how to reorientate the country and do things the proper way. Cut down cost of governance, be more patriotic, be more moved to empathy towards the welfare of the Nigerian citizens. He is not preaching extremism in his political message. For Ali Modu Sharif and his diatribe yesterday, I was so pained that this country has continued to harbor people who are their problems. People like Ali Modu Sharif are the problems of this country. People who have vowed that Nigeria will not move forward. Nigeria will not have any change. And I was questioning his authority, his moral authority, to talk to Peter Obi the way he did. Is he a good example of Nigerian leader? Somebody who threw his region into insecurity of the highest proportion through Boko Haram. It's because we don't sanction anybody. When you do things, you think Nigerians have forgotten. And that is why he could come to the studio to say such things. He spoke about Obi not condemning Biafra, war that ended 56 years ago. When that war broke out in 1967, Peter Obi was 6 years old because he was born in 1961. When the war ended in 1970, Peter was 9 years old. So how can he be blaming him for anything that happened between 1967 and 1970? Because of that, he has lost right to aspire to be president of Nigeria. These are the people who are holding Nigeria down. I take you back to the 1994 genocide in Rwanda. That genocide in Rwanda happened between 7th April and 19th July in 1994. Within a space of 100 days, over 800,000 people were killed. About 1 million people were eliminated from one ethnic group, the Tutsis. And today, they have forgotten about that. Rwanda has moved on. Paul Kagame has provided leadership. That is, in Rwanda today, there's no Tutsi, there's no Hutu. If you ask anybody from Rwanda, where are you from? You say, I'm a Rwandan. That is the way to build nations, not to retain hate, not to retain acrimony over time.
How do you interpret his kind of comment and hard line against Peter Obi? Those critical comments against Peter Obi coming at this time.
It's political. It is political. Anybody who gets up will say the North will not vote for Peter Obi. They incited their people against Peter Obi to use that and weaponize a war that ended 56 years ago, that the North should not vote for Peter Obi. Let them remain in the Stone Age. Nobody is in the Stone Age anymore. But Nigeria is moving. And if you don't do reconciliation and healing, you cannot move forward. So what he's trying to do is to whip up sentiment against Peter Obi ahead of the election. Peter Obi is one of the finest souls Nigeria has had. Somebody who is non-violent, somebody who preaches peace, somebody, even if you slap him, he will smile. And he continues with his message of change. Let this country be turned around. He has a right to say that the president has not met the expectations of the Nigerian people. He is politically allowed to say resign. Because the current president asked Jonathan to resign when he was in office.
So it is well in his right to ask the president to resign.
Anybody has if you are not satisfied with what you are getting from your leadership, you can ask for leadership change. The only leadership change we want in Nigeria is a democratic leadership change, where the Nigerian people will be allowed to vote for anybody of their choice to provide leadership to them. the issue of whether Nigeria is doing well or not, everybody is feeling the way it is. If in the election, I'm not saying that you must sack Tinubu, for example, but you should allow Nigerian people to vote. Continue being our president. We're happy with you. Things are good with us. Everything is fine. The cost of living is good. Everything is good. So if they vote for him, he will continue.
In your own estimation, how do you think this government has steered the affairs of this country?
I cannot shy away from telling you what is obvious. Petrol is today 1,200 naira a liter. Diesel is about 1,400 naira a liter. And once this thing continues this way, prices of goods and services will continue to skyrocket. We are not doing anything to increase production in this country. Look at the kind of things we have seen. You just said about the fake agency, a federal, what is it called? Federal
Presidential Promotion Council.
Investment Council.
Yeah.
Promotion. And the agency is not known to the government of Nigeria. And that agency is operating at the Federal Secretariat of the government of Nigeria.
With 3 CBN accounts.
With 3 CBN accounts.
With communication from the office of the SGF, based on the document we were saying.
Look at it. Is it not a wonder? And what people are not asking about is it only this fake agency that is in existence? Nigeria is a country where a lot of people have put tubes, sucking money away from. That's why they.
So you imagine if that. There could be.
There could be many others.
One will wonder that you and your colleagues should then now start an investigation. If you have identified a hole, I mean, a lot of the times, and I don't know if this comes to your mind too, once you see a rat in a house, know that there's a possibility that there are a lot more that you have not seen.
One rat cannot live in a house.
In a house.
There are
so
many.
If there is one fake federal agency audacious enough, according to the government, they say it's fake. If that fake agency is audacious enough to have his office in the Federal Secretariat, audacious enough to have 3 CBN accounts, audacious enough to have his budget,
line.
In the National Assembly, on the budget.
The Minister of Budget and Planning, recognizing this fake agency, gave it a budget line code.
And audacious enough to have I even understand that some of them have diplomatic passports who are working in that office.
Oh, what are you saying?
And there are a long list of issues that raise a lot of questions.
Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council. Look at it, very lofty name. And the man is already operating, holding meetings with diplomats and all manners of people.
What do you
By the time you investigate,
you understand government.
By the time you investigate,
yes. Yeah. What do you think let's assume, and there are two angles here. Let's assume that this was not ab initio, not fake. Because it's possible the government says it is fake afterwards. But maybe it started as not a fake agency, but it has now been disowned. Because the federal government needs to come forward and give Nigerians a full disclosure, a full account beyond what we are going to be hearing in court. The presidency has denied to the extent of the involvement of Mr. Gbajabiamila. But as a government of Nigeria, we need to find out how this all started, how the employment letter, if it was, who is paying for almost 2 years. There are people working in the offices of these fake agencies. Who is paying them? Head of service correspondents, SGS correspondents, a lot of correspondents from Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Foreign Affairs to this fake agency. What do you suspect could have gone wrong?
The decadence in our system is of dizzying height. That this agency could operate the manner it has operated, and nobody has any precise information as to how it started, how it became an agency of government, in quote, assigned rooms at the Federal Secretariat. The head of service of the Federation is the one who manages the properties of the government, allocating offices to agencies of government. So how could they be operating, receiving salutes from people, from workers and all that, without any legitimacy. Who made him the Director General of this agency? Because the Director General of an agency must be appointed by government and to be appointed by the President indeed. Nobody has the power to appoint anybody Director General of any agency without the presidential endorsement. So how did he come about? Yeah. It's a mystery. Senator. So government has a lot to explain, and I'm taking it away from this agency. I'm only imagining what is happening in this country where so many of such agencies may have been in existence, and you can't trace them. You cannot trace them. All of them draw money from the till, and they do whatever they like. That is why anytime you want to sanitize operations of government, you meet stiff resistance from those who benefit from it. There are so many billionaires in Nigeria that are not doing anything, any visible business.
Part of the allegation the man is making is the fact that it was when there is a demand or request for about 20-something billion naira. That was what the thing.
What is alleged.
Those are but there is there's a cease and desist order, and there is a defamation lawsuit of 10 billion naira coming from Mr. Gbajabiamila's lawyers.
What I want the president to do is to investigate this matter. The president has to order transparent investigation to this matter. It's not about what anybody is saying. Slamming a lawsuit against somebody.
Does it in any way affect the reputation of this government?
Of course it does. Otherwise, why are they scampering? Why are you slamming a lawsuit of 10 billion naira against somebody who said he had any relationship with you? What you have to do is to prove to the satisfaction of Nigerians that you knew nothing about this agency. And he has made damning allegations that he was asked to pay 24 billion. So if somebody is asked to pay 24 billion, it must be out of hundreds of billions that is lying somewhere. It must not be pay me 24 billion if you don't have 30 billion. So we have to go, president, our president must be on top of this, investigate it thoroughly, and find out what has happened. It will not be swept under the carpet.
So, Senator, finally, this is how I'd like us to close our conversation with you tonight. And it's going to be about what has become an intense political contest that we have seen within the political atmosphere in the last few days. And it's about your very good friend, Mr. Peter Obi, who secured millions of votes in 2023 and significantly altered Nigeria's political landscape. There are a lot of people who thought that is insignificant nationally, politically speaking. But looking ahead to 2027, does it still represent that big threat to the ruling party, or has the political equation fundamentally changed?
Nothing has changed, because the issues he came out to campaign against had remained the same, or even worse. It was offering Nigeria real change in the way we do things, cutting down costs of governance, and making welfare of the citizens primary in all the government policies. What we have seen ever since 2023 has been the same issues bothering Nigerians: insecurity, high cost of living. Today, can you imagine that for you to fill your tank, you'll be spending close to 200,000 naira. If you have 2 cars, you want to fill it, to be about 500,000. So it is not stopping, and there's no hope that this thing will drop. Many workers don't go to work with their cars anymore. So the challenge is still there, and the end is not in sight. For him, I would think that he's still very, very dreaded. Otherwise, government would have ignored him.
Can he win?
He will win. That's why they don't want it to be in the ballot. All the chase around against Peter Obi is because they know that Nigerians love him. And they're doing opinion polls. Take it from me. Government is conducting opinion polls through the people they pay. And the result they turn back to them are stunning. That instead of diminishing, the man is rising
in
by the day,
stature and in profile.
and in profile. So you have to worry about such a candidate.
All right, Senator.
Yes.
Thank you so much, indeed. Senator Victor Umeh is a federal lawmaker representing Anambra State in the National Assembly. Many thanks indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you, Shane.
I appreciate it.
Good to be here.